Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, take a look at the headlines first. Union Budget 2024-25 presented in the Parliament. Union Budget 2024-25 proposes creation of 12 industrial parks. Union Budget 2024-25 announced 5 schemes under the Prime Minister's package. United Nations Development Programme releases Signal Spotlight 2024 report. Urban Transformation Strategies in Union Budget 2024-25 released. Supreme Court delivers split verdict on approval of GM mustard. Today marks a pivotal moment in our nation's economic journey as the Union Budget 2024-25 was unveiled in Parliament, sparking hope and excitement across the country. Crafted with a keen focus on employment, skilling, MSMEs, and the middle class, this budget promises to be a game changer. As mandated by Article 112 of the Constitution, this annual financial statement lays down the roadmap for the coming fiscal year. Let's begin by delving into the key highlights. At the heart of this year's budget is the Prime Minister's package comprising 5 major schemes and initiatives, which will provide employment, skilling and opportunities to a staggering 4.1 crore youth over the next 5 years. This ambitious plan underscores the government's commitment to fostering a robust workforce for the future. To boost domestic manufacturing and enhance the country's export competitiveness, the budget has rationalized custom duties across various sectors. This move is set to deepen local value addition and simplify the taxation process, making it a win-win for businesses and the economy. In a bid to offer relief to taxpayers, the tax rate structure under the new regime has been revised. Notably, the TDS rate on certain payments and e-commerce operators has been reduced. Additionally, short-term and long-term gains on financial assets will now attract tax rates of 20% and 12.5% respectively, while the exemption limit of capital gains on specified assets has been increased to Rs 1.25 lakh per year. The Vivad Se Vishwas Scheme 2024 has been proposed to resolve lingering income tax disputes, aiming for a more streamlined and amicable resolution process. Corporate tax rates on foreign companies see a reduction from 40% to 35%, potentially boosting foreign investment. On the flip side, the security transactions tax on futures and options has been increased, while the equalization levy of 2% has been withdrawn. In an effort to bolster the enforcement of the Benami Transactions Prohibition Act, immunity from penalty and prosecution will be granted to Benamidars who make full and truthful disclosures. In summary, as these initiatives roll out, we'll be watching closely to see their impact on our nation's journey towards a prosperous future. In a bold move to boost industrial growth and economic development, the Union Budget 2024-25 has proposed the creation of 12 new industrial parks. These parks will be sanctioned under the National Industrial Corridor Development Programme, a key initiative aimed at transforming India's industrial landscape. In addition to these 12 industrial parks, the government plans to facilitate the development of investment-ready plug-and-play industrial parks in or near 100 cities. This ambitious project will be a collaborative effort involving states and the private sector, utilizing advanced town planning schemes to create state-of-the-art infrastructure. For those unfamiliar, industrial parks are specialized economic zones designed to house a cluster of industrial activities. A notable example is Andhra Pradesh's Shri City Special Economic Zone. The significance of these parks cannot be overstated. They create employment opportunities, foster the sharing of common infrastructure, and enhance productivity and competitiveness. Moreover, they are magnets for foreign direct investment, significantly expanding manufacturing activities. Now, take a quick glance at the National Industrial Corridor Development Programme, or NICDP. It aims to develop industrial corridor projects that will birth futuristic industrial cities capable of competing with the best manufacturing and investment destinations globally. Since the approval for the first industrial corridor, the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, back in 2007, the NICDP has envisioned 11 industrial corridors comprising 32 projects to be developed in 4 phases. The implementation of this grand vision is overseen by the National Industrial Corridor Development and Implementation Trust and the National Industrial Corridor Development Corporation Limited. An apex monitoring authority, chaired by the Finance Minister, ensures rigorous review and oversight of the implementation process. In summary, the strategic initiative marks a significant leap towards making India a global industrial powerhouse. In our next news, in a landmark announcement today, the Union Budget 2024-25 has unveiled 5 transformative schemes under the Prime Minister's package. These schemes aim to create a surge in employment, skilling, and internship opportunities for an ambitious target of 4.1 crore youth over the next 5 years. Let's break down these game-changing schemes one by one. Firstly, the employment-linked incentive schemes kick off with Scheme A, First Timers, which offers a one-time wage to all new entrants in the formal workforce. With an eligibility limit of up to Rs 1 lakh per month, first-time employees can receive up to Rs 15,000 distributed in 3 installments. Next, Scheme B focuses on job creation in manufacturing. This initiative incentivizes both employees and employers by covering EPFO contributions for the first 4 years, aiming to boost the manufacturing sector significantly. Scheme C provides robust support to employers. Government will reimburse EPFO contributions of employers up to Rs 3,000 per month for 2 years for all new hires. The scheme covers all additional employment within a salary of Rs 1 lakh per month in all sectors. Moving on to the 4th scheme, a new centrally sponsored skilling program is set to collaborate with state governments and industry partners. This program aims to skill 20 lakh youth over 5 years, upgrading 1,000 industrial training institutes into efficient hubs of skill development. Finally, the 5th scheme focuses on internship opportunities. This comprehensive plan will provide internships to 1 crore youth in 500 top companies over 5 years. Interns will receive a monthly allowance of Rs 5,000 and a one-time assistance of Rs 6,000, ensuring they gain valuable industry experience and financial support. In summary, these innovative schemes are set to redefine the employment landscape, empowering millions of young Indians with opportunities and skills. The Union Budget 2024-25 is truly a beacon of hope for the youth of our nation.
Moving ahead, the United Nations Development Programme or UNDP has released its Signals Spotlight 2024 report, shedding light on emerging trends in development and innovative ideas for addressing long-term global challenges. This year's report focuses on intergenerational equity, emphasizing fairness between generations and discusses 3 key areas: an equitable future, responsible technological progress, and resilient and connected communities. The first key area, Hope for an Equitable Future, highlights the increasing acknowledgement of the rights of nature in constitutions and laws, particularly in countries like Ecuador, Brazil, and Bolivia. There is a growing recognition of the need for alternatives to current economic models such as circular or regenerative economies and even post-capitalism. The concept of nature as an asset class is gaining traction. Additionally, young people are laying the foundation for a creative democracy through digital networks and the use of AI, expressing themselves in ways that were previously unimaginable. The second key area, Hope for Responsible Technological Progress, explores the potential of AI to narrow development gaps in critical sectors like agriculture, healthcare, pollution control, and education. AI also has the potential to enhance democracy. The open source AI movement is particularly noteworthy as it democratizes access to AI technology. Furthermore, multilateral cooperation in space with a strong emphasis on ethics could significantly improve lives on Earth. For instance, satellites could connect the 2.5 billion people who are still offline. Third key area, Hope for Resilient and Connected Communities, addresses the persistent trauma of conflict and disaster, digital disinformation, and the loneliness left in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Communities and startups are increasingly investing in social and intergeneration connections, fostering resilience and strengthening bonds across generations. In summary, the Signal Spotlight 2024 report by the UNDP highlights the potential for an equitable future, responsible technological progress, and resilient and connected communities. In our next news, let's delve into the Union Budget 2024-25, which has outlined comprehensive urban transformation strategies to address the pressing needs of India's growing urban population. Urban development has been a key focus, with initiatives aimed at improving housing, rental facilities, city planning, water supply, sanitation, and support for street vendors. Currently, urban areas constitute approximately 35% of India's population, a figure expected to rise to 53% by 2047. These urban centers contribute around 66% to the national GDP, a contribution projected to reach 80% by 2050. However, India's urban centers face significant challenges, including infrastructure deficits, rapidly deteriorating environmental conditions like air pollution, and suboptimal planning and governance. In response, the budget has announced several key strategies. For housing, there will be an expansion of the PM Awas Yojana for the construction of an additional 3 crore houses. Interest subsidies will be provided to facilitate loans at affordable rates, and rental housing will be facilitated with dormitory-type accommodation for industrial workers through public-private partnership mode. The budget also envisions cities as growth hubs, focusing on creative brownfield redevelopment of existing cities. This will be achieved through enabling policies, market-based mechanisms, and regulation. Transit-oriented development plans will be implemented for 14 large cities with populations above 30 lakhs to enhance connectivity and urban planning. To support street vendors, a new scheme will develop 100 weekly hearts or street food hubs each year for the next 5 years in select cities. This initiative aims to provide a structured and supportive environment for street vendors, enhancing their livelihoods and contributing to the local economy. In conclusion, these strategies reflect the government's commitment to transforming urban areas into sustainable and thriving centers of growth, addressing both current challenges and future demands. Ahead in the news, the Supreme Court has delivered a split verdict on the approval of genetically modified mustard. A two-judge bench of the Supreme Court delivered a split verdict on a batch of PILs challenging the approval given by the Union government for environmental release of genetically modified mustard. Previously, in October 2022, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee and Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change granted approval for environmental release of GM mustard, that is, HT mustard DMH11. However, this approval was later put on hold after the Supreme Court directed the centre to maintain the status quo in November 2022. The judgment highlighted several critical points. Firstly, it affirmed that judicial review of decisions made by GEAC is permissible. Secondly, the Union government was advised to develop a national policy on GM crops in consultation with all stakeholders, including states and farmers group. Additionally, the court emphasized that the provisions of the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India Act should be enforced in the matter of importing GM food. GM crops such as GM mustard involve the modification of genetic materials using laboratory-based techniques to transfer genes from one organism to another. These crops are significant for their potential to increase yields, develop resistance to pesticides, and adapt to climate change. However, they also raise concerns, including the risk of allergic reactions, antimicrobial resistance, and immune suppression. In India, BT cotton remains the only GM crop approved for cultivation since 2002. The approval process for GM crops in India is governed by the rules for the manufacture, use, import, export, and storage of hazardous microorganisms, genetically engineered organisms or cells, 1989, codified under the Environment Protection Act, 1986. Under these rules, the GEAC is responsible for appraising proposals related to the release of genetically engineered organisms and products into the environment, including experimental field trials. The GEAC operates under the Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change.
As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. While presenting the Union Budget, Finance Minister announced that government is going to launch Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Unnat Gramya Abhiyan soon. The aim is to bring improvement in the socio-economic condition of tribal communities. Government proposed to withdraw 2% equalization levy affecting non-resident e-commerce companies. It was introduced in India in 2016. It was initially applied to online advertisements and related payments for utilizing digital ad space, set at 6% rate for non-residents without a permanent establishment in India. Researchers recently probed that how a class of synthetic drugs called macrolones disrupt bacterial cell function to fight infectious diseases. Macrolones can work two different ways, that is either by interfering with protein production or corrupting DNA structure. Department of Post releases beta version of DigiPin for public comments and expert opinion. It is an initiative to establish a geocoded addressing system in India. Ministry of Culture has initiated the National Mission on Cultural Mapping. The objective is to create awareness about the strengths of cultural heritage and its interface with development and cultural identity. Union Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has recognized the Indian Kalaripayattu Federation as a regional sports federation to promote Kalaripayattu in the country. It was developed in Kerala and is considered as one of the most ancient martial arts in the world. ISRO successfully carried out the second experimental flight for the demonstration of air-breathing propulsion technology. It utilizes atmospheric oxygen for combustion, eliminating the need to carry oxidizer. Scientists have discovered a new species of shield-tailed snake in Western Ghats, Meghamalai Munnar landscape. The shield-tailed snakes are endemic in peninsular India and Sri Lanka. Electric Mobility Promotion Scheme launched in March 2024 for a 4-month period is scheduled to end on July 31, 2024. It was launched by Union Ministry of Heavy Industry to accelerate adoption of EVs in the country. India's first individual Olympic gold medalist, Abhinav Bindra, has been honored with the Olympic Order for his outstanding contributions to the Olympic movement. Abhinav Bindra secured the gold at the 2008 Beijing Olympics in the men's 10-meter air rifle event. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version, remember to visit the links in the description below.